We'll start. Welcome everyone who is joining us tonight for our first YouTube Zoom Shabbat in a while here at Mikveh Israel. We did it for maybe a year and we enjoyed it so much we decided that we're going to do it now once a month. So every second Friday of the month, we will do only a Zoom and YouTube, so it will not be live and in person. So welcome to everybody who is participating. As we know, when we have this wonderful Zoom service, it gives everyone the opportunity who is on Zoom to participate. And if you're watching on YouTube, then you can still watch at home. So we have a large group of people. So I'm going to welcome everybody as I put us all on the gallery view. So welcome to Flo and to Marek and to Noel and Kaiten. Welcome to Glenn and Alan and Leslie and Kelly and Jonathan and Teresa and to Herbert, who are all participating. If you join in, you don't have to participate, but you're certainly welcome. Now, again, I'll remind everyone who has not been on this program with us for a while, we do not invite everyone to sing at the same time. Unfortunately, the Zoom does not allow that, or as I was mentioning to Jonathan, we'd love to have him and Kelly or Mark to do some sort of, or Kate to do some sort of duos, but that's not feasible. So we can only have one person singing at a time. Also, I'll put up the pages online, but also you can go online and get the free Mishkan Tefillah to follow, as the URJ has been kind enough to give that to us for free. We're going to begin our service on page 2 in our prayer book. And I'm going to put that on right now. So you'll see it'll be on the screen. Page 2 or 120, depending on which prayer book you're using, as we're going to invite Kaiten to lead us in the blessing, but I'm going to light the candles.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlich ner shel Shabbat.
Thank you, Kaiten, for leading us in the blessing over the candles. Before we continue with our service, we're going to take a moment, as our opening reading is going to be a special one. This is a reading about Faith in Blue Weekend. So many of you may not have heard of it. It's a new program, and we are participating in it. It was founded last year in Atlanta. Faith in Blue was launched to facilitate safer, stronger, more just, and unified communities by directly enabling local partnerships among law enforcement professionals, residents, businesses, and community groups through the connections of local faith-based organizations. The initiative aims to recalibrate police-community relations through solutions focused in person, socially distanced, and or virtual activities that are organized jointly by faith-based or other community groups and law enforcement agency. As the organization states, communities are stronger and safer when residents and law enforcement professionals can relate as ordinary people with shared values, hopes, and dreams. The partners who are part of National Faith in Blue Weekend believe we can find ways to work together to overcome any differences. We at Congregation Mikveh Israel support our local police officers and thank them for their service and support and continually pray for their safety. We are proud to honor them during this weekend and look forward to a continued wonderful relationship. So we are proud to be participating in the second annual Faith in Blue Weekend, and we'll be doing a little bit more about that today and tomorrow and a few other things to the weekend. But now we're going to go back into our prayer book, as we're going to turn to page 8 in our prayer book. And of course, for those of you who have it, I invite you to turn it. For those of you who don't, I'm putting it on the screen right now. page 8, as it's a pleasure to invite Glenn to lead us. And Glenn, you're still on mute, just in case you're wondering.
There we go. Yeah. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics and no services, but I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us and to bring that vision to life.
Thank you very much for that beautiful reading. As we're going to go to page 20 or 138, there we will find the beginning of Lecha Dodi, as we're going to invite Kelly to lead us in our prayer to welcome the Sabbath bride. Unlike when we're in the sanctuary, I'm not going to invite people to stand or rise for any of the prayers, but I will invite people, but again, that'll be completely up to you. Kelly, are we singing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9? We can't hear you, Kelly. Sorry about that. We're going to pause for a station break. This is Congregation Mikveh Israel of beautiful Savannah, Georgia, and we are proud to be here today on this Sabbath celebrating with all of you. We look forward to a wonderful weekend as we come together in celebration for the Sabbath and for so many other reasons, namely our ability to master technology. So let's continue on page 20 and 21 as we're going to do verses 1, 2, 5, and 9.
We're going to do the shorter version tonight.
We're doing the shorter version. You know what, Kelly?
Yes.
I'm going to make an executive decision. Let's do the shorter version instead.
I agree with you. I fully agree with that. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, Panei Shabbat, nekabla. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, Panei Shabbat, nekabla. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom umevorach. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom umevorach.
Thank you, Kelly. Beautiful way to start the evening. And let's go to page 27 or page 145 as we come to the reading before the official opening, the Baruch Hu, as I'm going to invite Teresa Victor to lead us.
Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days. Lest my day be today as the one before. Lest routine set my ways. Entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time, even at unlikely times and through unlikely places. There is no place on earth without the presence.
Thank you, Teresa. As we're going to turn to page 28 or 146. The call to worship is found here, the Baruch Hu. You can rise if you'd like. If you notice on page 28 and 29, there are a total of 3 English readings and 1 Hebrew. That's because they are all the same prayer. You have the 1 Hebrew prayer and then 3 alternative translations. So we usually read just one. So we're going to begin in Hebrew, again on page 28 or 146 with Baruch.
La 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 Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vaed.
Thank you, Kelly, as we're going to go to page 31 and read our prayer of creation. Page 31 or 149, as we're going to invite Alan to read at the top of the page.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim.
Thank you. Alan is on the next page. We're going to continue as Caton is going to lead us in our prayer of God's love in Hebrew, Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat olam, Eit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta, Otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shochmenu ufkumenu na'asiyat bechukecha v'nishma v'divrei Toratecha u'v'tzvotecha le'olam va'ed ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu u'bahem nege yomam b'layla, nege yomam b'layla. V'ahavatcha al tasir, mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Ohev amo Yisrael.
Thank you, Caton, as we're going to invite Herbert to read the translation at the top of page 33 or 151.
As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael.
Thank you, Herbert. As we're going to turn to page 34 or 152, as we're going to invite Jonathan Rabb to lead us in Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever.
Thank you. As I invite anyone who is standing to please be seated. As on page 36 or 154, we're going to invite Mark Lawanda to lead us in the Ve'ahavta. And Mark, you're on mute.
Sorry, I thought I had unmuted just before. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol miodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha u'v'lechtecha v'aderech u'v'shachbecha u'v'kumecha u'kshartam liod al yadecha v'hayu litotafot b'neinecha וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Thank you, Mark. As we're going to invite Noel to read the translation. And Noel, you're still on mute. Still on mute, Noel. We're almost there. Perfect.
I'm technology informed as much as you are, Rabbi. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand, and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Thus you shall remember to observe all my commandments and to be holy to your God. I am Adonai your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God. Adonai Elohechem.
Thank you. So we're going to go to page 39 or page 157 as we're going to invite Flo to lead us at the bottom of the page.
In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say Adonai. There is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt, we were delivered. At Sinai, we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again, we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in the dark ages your vision of the world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then we shall rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
Thank you, Flo. As we're going to continue with Micha Mocha on page 40 or 158 as we invite Kelly to lead us.
I believe Jonathan is leading us on the Micha Mocha, am I right?
No, Jonathan was leading Shema. You're doing Micha Mocha.
Oh, okay. Then
Not that we don't think Jonathan would do an excellent job. He would.
I apologize. I wrote it down wrong. Here we go. Ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef ele, nora tehilot osef ele. Malachut kara uvanecha, bokei ayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze'eli anu ve'amaru, ze'eli anu ve'amaru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed.
Thank you, Kelly. And instead of singing the version of Hashkivenu in our prayer book, we're going to sing the version that we've done many a time with Kelly's beautiful voice, as she's going to lead us in the version that's going to be on the screen. Hashkivenu, our prayer of protection through the evening.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. Ba'amidenu shomerenu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu suchat shlomecha, ufros aleinu suchat shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Amen.
Thank you, Kelly. We appreciate it. We're now going to turn to page 44 as we're going to read our prayer for the Sabbath. Page 44, as it's a pleasure to invite Teresa to do so. And it's also page 162.
The people of Israel shall keep Shabbat, observing Shabbat throughout the ages as a covenant for all time. It is a sign for all time between me and the people of Israel. For in 6 days Adonai made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day God ceased from work and was refreshed.
Thank you. As we're going to go to page 48 or page 166 as we begin the Amidah by chanting the first two paragraphs. We're going to chant the vote on page 48 and 166, and then go to the Giverot on page 50 and 168. For those who would like, we invite you to rise, as it's a pleasure, and to invite Mark to lead us.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imoteinu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor v'Hanodra El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher Chazdei Avot v'Imahot, U'Mevii Geula Livnei V'neihem, למען שמו ביאבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל עד רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם. מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים. צומח נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים. ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלך. מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמן אתה לי החיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
Thank you, Mark. As we're going to continue on page 53 and invite Herbert to lead us at the top of the page, 53 or 171. You may still be on Zoom, Herbert. I mean, on mute. There you go. You're still on mute. There we go. Perfect.
Okay. Don't touch anything.
Days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see wherever we gaze that the bush burns unconsumed, and we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Blessed is the eternal one, the holy God, Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
Thank you. As everyone who's standing, please be seated. We're going to continue on page 55 or 173, as we're going to invite Leslie to read our prayer for the Sabbath in the middle of the Amidah at the top of the page.
May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mikadesh ha-Shabbat.
Thank you, Leslie. Is on page 57 or 175. We're going to invite Noel to lead us in the prayer Ritzay in English at the bottom of the page.
You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clearer voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai she'oha lavadcha b'yara navod.
Thank you. As we're going to conclude the Amidah on page 60 or page 178, as we're going to invite Caton to lead us in our prayer of peace. Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon lecho ashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon lecho ashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Tasim Leolam.
Thank you, Caton. As we're now going to turn to page 253 or 371. As in the middle of the page, we find, of course, our Mishaberach, our prayer of healing. Of course, everyone is invited to name any of those they know of who are in need of healing at this time. So I invite everyone who's on the Zoom call or anybody also watching on YouTube to mention those names aloud or privately.
Great.
And Mark and Susan.
Estelle.
Magda Khan and Robert Burton. Together as a community, we pray for them and all who are in need of healing. As in the middle of the page, we sing Debbie Friedman's Mishaberach.
Mishaberach Avoteinu Makor habraka leimoteinu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach imoteinu Makor habraka leavoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Thank you, Kelly. Let's now take a moment of private reflection.
Say shalom bimra ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו amen.
Again, thank you everyone for joining us tonight as we return to Zoom. Before we continue, I want to see if anyone is celebrating anything that they'd like to share. So does anybody like to share a celebration, birthday, anniversary, anything? Herbert and Teresa.
Our son-in-law had a birthday this past week, and we were very fortunate to be able to celebrate in person because the three of them drove down from Atlanta to spend the week with us there. Then they returned safely home.
Fantastic.
And our daughter-in-law had her 4.5 birthday.
That would be granddaughter.
Granddaughter. Who did I say?
Daughter-in-law. We don't have one.
Granddaughter.
I was wondering who this son of yours was that you never introduced me to.
You never know.
Mazel tov.
Anyway, and you have never seen somebody so excited about a half birthday.
I wish everyone who has any kind of a celebration had that kind of enthusiasm to look forward to a celebration.
Very cool. All right. Anybody else want to give us anything? All right. So let's say a Shechianu then together as we invite Kelly to lead us. Do you want to lead us to the Shechianu, or would you like me to?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Mazel tov for the birthday and half birthday, everyone. And again, Shabbat Shalom. For those of you who aren't aware, in 1962, National Peace Officers Memorial Day was signed into law by President John F. Kennedy. I quote, "We know that law enforcement officers don't choose their career because of the money, the medals, or the award ceremonies. They're always available in times of disaster or crisis. They are one of the first to respond to an emergency and the last to leave a scene. Police officers serve the community because they want to make a difference. They choose to serve because they want to make our communities a safe and better place to live. They understand that they may get hurt or lose their lives in the line of duty, and they choose to serve regardless." So every year at that time in May, we honor police officers who died in the line of duty. However, as I mentioned last year, this new weekend, Faith and Blue Weekend, was instituted to honor police officers who continue to fulfill their duties through difficult times and celebrations. And tonight I'll make a little bit of a devar on what we'll be talking about tomorrow, but we read in the story of Noah this week how the earth had become corrupt before God. The earth was filled with lawlessness. When God saw how corrupt the earth had become, for all flesh had corrupted its ways on earth, God said to Noah, "I have decided to put an end to all flesh, for the earth is filled with lawlessness because of them. I am then about to destroy them with the earth." So that's the story of Noah, the destruction of the world and the rebuilding and the promise of God that God will not do it again. So later, when these issues arise, instead of destroying the world, what do we see in the book of Exodus? God chooses instead, actually it's Deuteronomy, to create judges and officers to enforce the laws given at Sinai. It's actually in both. So instead of destroying the world, God gives us judges and officers to enforce the laws that were given us. So on May 15th, we honor the men and women who died serving in their communities as police officers. But last year is instituted that on Faith and Blue Weekend, that we as religious institutions and congregations would honor officers who continually protect and serve, because without them, obviously, our world would be so different. So on this weekend, we invite everyone to say thank you to any of the police officers or police officials or police volunteers you know of. And of course, say thank you to any one of them you may meet. They've also invited us to bring coffee to them at the stations, and even invite your children to make drawings for them and bring them to them, which I'm hopefully going to bring my kids on Monday to do. I think we all here can agree that we feel so fortunate to have such a wonderful relationship with these dedicated men and women at Mikveh Israel, with them through the years, and we continue to thank them for their heroism. So on this Faith and Blue Weekend, thank you to all of our police officers, the men and women who've served through the years and continue to serve. We have a wonderful, wonderful and meaningful relationship with you, and we thank you for protecting us and for doing so much for our community. Amen. And with that, I'm going to say a special prayer for police officers that is based on several prayers from the Reform movement. May God, who blessed our ancestors, bless and protect the police officers of the Savannah area and all law enforcement officers and agents of this great nation, who at risk to their own lives protect the citizens of our city and this country from those who wish us harm. Ancient One, shield all of humanity, grant safety to our police officers wherever they serve in times of calm and in times of turmoil. Holy One, take note of the brave police officers who serve with loyalty and distinction. Remember the injured and the fallen. Remember those who were slain in the line of duty in defense of this city and country. May God preserve and rescue all these courageous men and women from every trouble, distress, plague, and illness. And may God send blessing and success in their every endeavor. Amen. And again, I encourage everyone, if you know any police officers, this is the weekend to say thank you for their service. But we're going to go back into our prayer book now as we go to page 282. There, we're going to find the Aleinu, page 282 or 586. I'm going to invite everyone who would like to please rise, as I'm going to invite Marek to lead us. It is the Aleinu at the bottom of the page.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon ha'kol, la'tekedu la'liot seher breshit, shelo asanu k'yoyei haratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpechot hadama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gohor aleinu k'chol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Thank you, Mark, as we're going to turn to page 285, as I'm going to invite Jonathan Schwartz to lead us. We'll see if I can enlarge this for you, Jonathan, without cutting it off. I think we're going to cut off the first line. Yeah, so the first line, is, let the time not be distant, O God. And then if you want to read the rest.
We shall turn to you in love, with corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness. What's that word? Superstition shall no longer enslave the mind, nor ordinary blind the eye, or may all created in your image become one in your spirit and one in your friendship, forever united in your service, shall you realm be established on the earth, and the word you prompt fulfilled, Adonai, I reign forever and ever.
Thank you, Jonathan. As we're going to turn to page 287, as we're going to invite Flo to lead us. And again, I think the top one is going to be cut off. So if you want to read that first. And I think you're still on mute, Flo.
May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Love each of us for the peace that we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand, but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over the humility. Cause light to go forth over all the land between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy and wholeness of freedom and of peace.
Thank you. Flo is going to invite Mark to lead us in V'ne'emar Bayom Hahu.
ונאמר וחיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Page 293 or 597. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. We take a moment today to first honor, as we mentioned before, the brave policemen and women who through the years have given their lives in defense of their cities, their countries, their counties. Remember, so too, the armed forces heroes who died protecting our country. Remember those who died from COVID over the last year and a half. Remember the yahrzeit anniversary of Elsie Dornson, Henrietta Bick-Dreyfus, Harriet Pam Eichholz, Herman Friedman, Rose Gilman, Mr. Norman Hirsch, Beverly Mail Hofstein, Milton Nolan Castle, Muriel Ratner Maida, Frida E. Markowitz, Ethel Guggenheimer Marks, Dr. Alexander Paderewski, John William Weston, and Mammy Lewald Wolf. Does anybody else have the name of someone they'd like to add? The Kaddish praise is found on the next page, page 294 or page 598, as I'm going to invite those who would like to please rise. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'alma divrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayachonu v'yomechonu v'chayadachol beit Yisrael, v'agalav v'zman kariv v'yamru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach v'elam ol me'almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, Yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudashah b'rechu, Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, Tamiram be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Hosei shalom b'mrumav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony and high bring peace to us and to all the world, to which we say amen. And everyone who's standing, please be seated, as it's an absolute pleasure, as always, to invite up our Parnasit, our president, Leslie Westmoreland.
Good Shabbos, everybody. It's lovely to see some of our members who we haven't been able to see in a while. So it's wonderful to have this opportunity on Zoom to see you all tonight. And hello to everybody watching on YouTube too. Remember, we're going to be doing this the second Friday of each month. So next Friday night, we are back in the synagogue and back on YouTube, no Zoom next Friday night, okay? Also, services tomorrow morning are in the synagogue at 11 o'clock. So please join us if you're able, and if not, please join us on your computer or on your TV. I hope everyone is having a wonderful start to Shabbat. Have a nice weekend and stay safe. Thank you, Rabbi. And thank you for leading such a lovely service, and for everyone for participating. It was great.
Thank you, Leslie. And before we conclude, I'm going to invite Glenn to tell us a little bit about what you're doing tomorrow.
Okay, tomorrow, 1:30 after services, we'll have a Zoom meeting, Torah study. The for portion is Noach. And I hope to get as many there as possible. There's plenty of room in Zoom.
That's right. We paid for the account. I think it's almost, I don't know if it's unlimited, but it's hopefully, well, we're going to cut it off at 500 though. I think that's
right. That would be too many. It would be too many. Yeah.
We're going to conclude our service this evening as we're going to sing Lechi Lach on page 341, page 341 or page 645. Before we conclude, I'm going to bring everybody back on to gallery view so we can all say Shabbat Shalom to everyone and each other.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
And have our Brady Bunch moments that we haven't had in a while.
Shalom.
Good Shabbos,
to see
everybody.
Bye.
And thank you. We're going to continue as we invite Kelly to lead us in Lechi Lach, which is at the top of page 341 or 645.
Lechi Lach, to a land that I will show you. Lech Lecha, to a place you do not know. Lechi Lach, on your journey I will bless you, and you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechi Lach. Lechi Lach, and I shall make your name great. Lech Lecha, and all shall praise your name. Lechi Lach, to the place that I will show you. L'simchat chayim, l'simchat chayim, l'simchat chayim, Lechi Lach. And you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. We shall be a blessing. Lechi Lach.
Thank you, Kelly. Great way to conclude the service. But as we know, we still are going to do a couple of things, and that is to say the prayer over the wine and the challah. So I'm going to invite Caden to lead us in the blessing over the wine on page 5 or 123.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pari hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinkelanu. Zikaron lema'aseh bereshit, Kihu yom techila lemikra kodesh, Zecher litziat mitzrayim. Ivanu v'chata, v'yotanu kidasha, v'kol ha'amim. B'shabbat kodshecha, v'ahava uv'ratzon, hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh hashabbat. Amen. L'chaim.
L'chaim. And Cain, did you said you had a challah? I have one here if you.
I have a Challah.
All right. It's going to go into the bushes to get it.
It's sleeps nicely in the bushes. Yes. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu.
Let's try again.
Thank you. Baruch atah Adonai
Hamotzi
lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Thank you again, Caden. Thank you to everybody. Shabbat Shalom. We'll see you tomorrow. And we hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. Kelly, would you play us out? You're still on mute.
Everybody, have a good week and a
Shabbat
good
shalom.
weekend. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Good to see everybody.
Yes, that's true.
Bye.
Kelly, don't worry about it. It's not playing right now. We're just going to say goodbye.
Adios.
Hello.
Happy trails to you.
Harry Federici.
We need
Rabbi, good
As
luck
we
on
say
Sunday.
in Israel, adios.
Adios.